Hi everyone, my name is Meryl. Welcome to my kitchen. Today I'm going to be showing you how to make an eggshell seed starter kit. It's exciting. We're going to do this experiment, grow some herbs, some seeds, and see what happens. So the really cool thing about eggs is not only is the inside part that we already talked about in our module really good for you, the outside part, the shell, is made of this really cool chemical compound called calcium carbonate. Now, it's not edible to us, but it does help plants grow. It's what we call a natural fertilizer, which means that it speeds up the plants growing and it helps them be productive. I have my handy dandy instructions here, so I'm going to read off them as we're doing this experiment. But what I also want you to know is that seed shells are really cool, or eggshells are really cool, because they're naturally occurring, so they naturally break down when we put them into soil, which means they're environmentally friendly, so we can help the environment. Seed starters, so what this experiment calls eggshell seed starters are little things to help seeds start to grow before you put them in a pot or in the soil. So we're going to start our experiment. I'm going to show you the different types of materials you need one by one. The first thing you need is eggshells. So here I have my eggshells and egg carton. You also need that. And I've already prepared my eggshells. So the other thing you're going to need is seeds. I've got a variety of herbs right here. I've got basil, parsley, oregano, dill, and even a little spearmint. So all things that I've used and eaten in my kitchen. And then I've also took a stop at my Better Home and Garden downtown, or you can go to Home Depot or any store that has a garden center, and bought some potting soil. Now, you don't necessarily need this much, nor does it need to be organic, but this is what I found. So take a look around your local garden stores and see what you can find. Other thing you need is a safety pin or a needle. Okay, let's get started. So the first step, let me refer to my handy dandy instructions. The first step we're gonna do, I've already kind of done. So what you wanna do is prepare your eggshells. And as I was describing, as you buy a carton of eggs from the store, as you eat the eggs, you don't have to do them right away, but as you eat the eggs, instead of cracking them down the middle like probably your parents usually do or you do, you wanna gently take a butter knife and use the back of the knife that's a little softer and just tap around the egg about this high up so you get a deeper little pot for your soil. You want to crack the egg all the way around and then gently pull the top of the shell off and dump the egg into your pot or stove or whatever you're using to make eggs. Or you can dump them into a bowl and save the egg in the fridge to eat another day. When you're done, what you want to do is wash out the eggshell, because eggs, before they're cooked, have some bacteria in it. That's not exactly healthy for the human body. So you want to rinse them out really, really well, but gently, and then sit them on a paper towel to dry. Now, what I did, because I wanted these to be extra, extra clean and make sure all the bacteria was gone, was I took a pot of water and I boiled it. And I put all of my eggshells, after I had them all gathered, into the pot for about 3 minutes. And then scooped them out and just had an extra layer of cleaning and safety there. So we're already on step 2. That was cleaning the eggs. The third step is, as I was talking about with the safety pin, you want to add what we call that draining hole. So I took my safety pin, and this step is a little bit more difficult and dangerous because you're dealing with a sharp object. So you definitely want to get an adult to help you with this, or you can make this step optional. It just helps the roots grow a little more. But I took my egg and I poked at the very bottom where the water is going to gather when we water our soil, and poked the hole through. Now I'm going to try and get really close so that I can show you. If you look really closely at the bottom of this egg, about right here, you can see where my hole is. So that white spot. And you can see the little pinprick in the center of my egg. So I did this with all of my eggs. It's just going to help us, like I said, drain the water, but you want to do it carefully so that the shell doesn't break. Worst comes to worst, you can always get a few more eggs. Okay, step 4 is the exciting part. You put the eggshells in the carton like this, and I'm going to angle my camera so you can see. I'm going to start potting using my potting soil to add soil to each of these eggshells. Now let me grab my spoon real quick so that I can use my potting soil. Okay, so here I've got a spoon, also a really helpful tool. I'm gonna open my soil, like so. They make this sealed pretty well so that you don't get soil all over your kitchen counter. Now you can also do this outside on your deck, so you don't get soil in your kitchen, which is probably a smart move, but I'm just gonna carefully open this so it doesn't explode on me. Okay, it's got a nice little seal. There we go. We've got it open. Okay. And I'm gonna make sure that I'm not getting soil everywhere, but I'm gonna carefully take each of my eggs like so. Take a little bit of the potting soil. You can see it on my spoon right here. Even a little less, honestly. Hi everyone, we're back. You can see I finished filling my eggshells with soil, a little close to the top, leaving only a little bit of space. I've already actually filled, I'm doing a few different seeds. So you could see I've written in really small handwriting, but still to mark, I've written the different types of seeds I'm making. And what's really great about this experiment is you can choose to make 2 to 3 different seeds. You just want 4 to 6 eggshells per seed, per different type of plant you're planting or seed you're using. So my favorite herbs to use in the kitchen are the ones I chose. I've already planted my dill, which came out of this bag. It's a nice little herb. I use it in some sauces for fish. And I've also already planted spearmint, which is super tasty. It's got that minty flavor and it's fun. All seeds look different. I will try to show you what these ones look like just for show and tell. You can see in my hand, the mint, let's see if I can get, the mint is these little tiny circles. Super different from what I'm about to show you. If I could get these back into my, I'm gonna have to put these off to the side, but different from what I'm about to show you, which is the dill, which looks very different. Let me turn this a little bit so that you can see me, which is the dill and is much bigger seeds and looks a little bit more like what we expect seeds to look like. You can see it's these little pieces. So I'm gonna put the dill will go back in. So I'm gonna put the dill back in. All right, so the last one I wanna do is my favorite herb is basil. I love tomatoes and mozzarella. I love putting basil in my pasta. I love it. So this is my favorite one. What I'm going to show you and what's really cool about seed packages is it gives you some instructions on it. And it also tells you exactly how deep you want to put the seed in the soil. So my basil says, I want the seed to be about 1/4 of an inch into the soil. Now that's maybe about this big. So what I'm going to do is just dig a little bit of a tiny hole with my finger to put the seed in there, and then I'm gonna cover the hole. So I'm gonna pull one of the eggs out so that you could see this whole process after I open this. So let me turn this even more down so that you can see me. Okay, so here's my package. I'm gonna really carefully open it there. Okay, so these ones look super different, completely different color. We've got these little black pellets, and so what I'm gonna do, sometimes when you water seeds, not all of them actually start. So it's nice to put about 2 to 3 seeds in each of your eggs. And I'm gonna prop this one up so you can see what I'm doing. 2 to 3 seeds in each of your eggs so that you can then make sure at least one of them starts to grow. So I'm gonna use my finger and I'm gonna make a little 1/4 an inch hole. I'm gonna take 3 of the seeds, very carefully drop them into the hole, and then put the soil back on top with my finger. And then I'm gonna carefully put my seeds, my shell back in my egg carton. I'm gonna take my water, and just to get my shells started, I'm gonna put the littlest bit of water because you want it moist. A spray bottle is honestly more appropriate, but you really wanna use a very little bit because you don't wanna overwater your plants. So the rule of thumb here is I'm just going to use a little bit, not even a lot. You can always go back for more. And I'm going to gently pour some water into my soil. Make sure that there's not water pooling at the top. I can always add a little more, but get it in there. And then during the week, I'm going to feel my soil every now and then and make sure that it's still damp. And if it's starting to get less moist and dry and it's not damp to the touch, you're going to add a little more water. So you want to make sure that they're always moist and damp because that is how the seeds are going to grow. So this is super exciting. We're slowly finishing off. Just going to keep doing a little bit of water at a time. Now remember, you can always ask your science partner, preferably an adult if you do have one to help you out, what they think. You can get them to feel the soil, but you can tilt your water if you are using a spoon like I am just to get a little bit more of the water out. And I'm just gonna remember, what helps here is the drainage holes, but if you don't have drainage holes and if you can't get a needle into the eggs, because it does tend to be a little hard, just make sure that you aren't overwatering, because that's the only reason the draining hole is helpful. All right, so I'm gonna add a little bit where I see some drier eggs. And that, my friends, is it. I'm gonna show you the finished product and then you're gonna be off on your own. I've attached a link with the same instructions that I followed so that you can also make your own seed starter with these eggshells. And just to remind you, it's really cool that not only are the center of the eggs that we eat helpful to us and healthy for us, it's wonderful that you can use eggshells to help plants grow. When the seeds are popping out and you see a few little green leaves, when they're big enough, what you can do is you can take, because these shells break down naturally in soil, what you can do is take these shells and just plant them in a small pot or outside, and the shells will naturally break down, which is really cool. And then your plants can continue to grow as long as you're watering them. So then after that, you can enjoy your herbs. It does take a decent amount of time, and the package will tell you how long, but maybe a few months, but that's the fun. All right, everyone, have a great day. I hope you enjoyed this activity. I will return in a few days to see what our seeds look like. Hi everyone, I'm back. I'm going to show you what our seeds look like now and tell you a little about each one. Okay, so here's our eggs right next to my stove. We've got, just to remind you, dill over here, mint, and basil. You can see the little sprouts coming out. I'm very excited. It's been about 9 days since we planted these. You can see the dill takes about 10 to 21 days. We're a little early on the dill here. It's actually sprouted a little quicker. Mint is taking a little longer, but we should start to see it because per our packets, which I have over here, mint, this is this one, spearmint, takes about 7 to 14 days. So we're still within that range. And then we've got basil over here that is sprouting on the side. It's possible that these eggshells are a little smaller, so we're not seeing the seed sprout yet, but we've got these ones over here just to give you a closer look. Very exciting. Thanks for following along, guys.